There are a few games out there where you're trying to survive in a frosty wilderness, and the new game Frost has an interesting take on that premise. But does this deck building game have all the right cards, or is this one not worth thawing out? Frost is a deck-building survival game where your goal is to try to survive a certain number of turns so that you're able to get to the base. All along the way, people will end up dying, you're going to need to scavenge some food and supplies and hope that you're able to just barely make it and be able to successfully have as many people alive at the same time when you finally do make it. The game is definitely difficult, has a bit of a learning curve, and even with the tutorial, it took a little while before I felt comfortable at all at knowing exactly what I was doing and what I needed to do in order to make sure I was able to survive the entire game's length. The thing with Frost, though, is it doesn't give you a ton of motivation to keep on trying to get better and better. It's going to be one of those games that you're going to just have to set your mind to. It's only going to appeal to probably a small handful of gamers that really end up dedicating themselves to see every aspect that Frost has to offer. That doesn't mean that it isn't fun, and there isn't a lot here if you can get into it, but progress in itself is a bit slow. This is due to the fact that the game doesn't really have like a campaign of any sort or a story mode really. You just have the game of trying to survive. Your progress, though, is you are able to discover new types of cards along the way to make your next attempt a little bit different, or maybe potentially a little bit easier on you, and maybe you'll finally be able to get to that camp and have a lot of people surviving with you. It's a simple game that has a lot going on in it, and managing every single card and managing it correctly is going to be the key for if you're able to survive the entire length of the journey. Dealing with stuff like wolves and having to craft spears and deciding whether or not to craft the weapon or just use your resources to get moving into that next step. You have a certain number of health for your character as well as the people that you're also trying to get to that surviving point, and you can decide sometimes whether or not to sacrifice one of them or take damage to yourself, though if you run out of resources, whether it be the people, food, or of course your own health, you end up getting that game over and have to start over from the beginning. The game has a unique art style that some will end up liking more than others. It's kind of like a sketch style of artwork, and the game has an exceptionally bright color to it, though there's thankfully also the night mode that I ended up playing in a lot more, and it also gives the artwork a very unique look to it when you do play in that night mode. Just keep in mind you may want to turn the brightness down on your TV a bit when you first boot up this one. From the technical side of things, though, I'm happy to report no major glitches or crashes of any sort. Frost is available now on the PS4, Switch, and Xbox One, unfortunately for $12.99. It is available for PC for half that price, and there is a PC demo that I highly recommend checking out first to make sure that you like this style of game before you end up paying either $6.99 or the $12.99 that it is on console. Frost, thankfully, though, does have a Platinum on the PlayStation 4. Overall, Frost is a unique looking and definitely a different style of game that I really wasn't that familiar with going in, but is definitely one I can see being very fun to those who can get into it. With everything said, I'm going to be giving Frost a 7 out of 10. That's going to wrap up this review though. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.